Yuki Tsunoda's future outside of Red Bull is becoming a more and more realistic scenario, and after the latest statements from Marko and Alonso, there is a very high chance that the new technical era will see Aston Martin with a new lineup as well. Horner's stance on Tsunoda being 5 years in the sister team and not actually benefiting with a promotion said everything we need to know regarding the stance of Red Bull for Tsunoda. But is Aston Martin his next destination? And if so, what are the factors that would play a huge role in this transfer? There is no secret that the greatest controversy and debate has been raised regarding Lawson's promotion to Red Bull instead of Tsunoda, and even though Horner admitted that it was very close and the diversity of Lawson is what got him the lead for the photo finish, that is still, of course, bad news for Tsunoda. The Japanese driver has been compared to Hadjar, the man who is yet to drive a full F1 race, with Horner stating that the Frenchman has a lot of talent and has been the faster driver in the post-season Abu Dhabi test. This has been the anticipation towards what is more or less inevitable from this point on: Tsunoda's future outside of Red Bull. By the looks of it, the Austrian team is now ready to get back to their own roots and promote from within their own academy after the spell of Perez has cost them a lot in the Constructors' Championship in 2024. And the sad part for Tsunoda is that he will always be looked at as Honda's protege instead of a proper candidate for the Red Bull seat. Now, the Austrian team has already thought about a replacement for Tsunoda in Racing Bulls, stating that it might be their side that's willing to push things to an end sooner rather than later. Auto Racer, a renowned Italian outlet that is very close to Formula One teams, has talked to Helmut Marko, who is reportedly willing to bring in another young talent next to Hadjar to replace Tsunoda, and his name is Arvid Lindblad. If we go back in time a bit, Marko had a lot of praiseful words for the youngster, saying that he might be the next Verstappen if there is a driver who is capable of doing what the four-time world champion is currently doing. Lindblad competed in Formula 3 last year and was the youngest driver in the championship, and on top of that he managed to finish in 4th place in the Drivers' Championship. Now he has been promoted to Formula 2 and will drive for Compost Racing in F2, and before that he will have a stint in the Formula Regional Oceania Championship, which is a move that adds more points to his super license. This pattern of behaviour tells us that Red Bull is ready to go with a very young core when it comes to their sister team Racing Bulls, as they are now slowly but surely working on a very interesting situation, becoming an independent squad that will fight for high points but still be highly reliant on Red Bull and their academy drivers. When addressing the talent of Lindblad and how much trust the team has in him, Marko said, "So basically it's a great pleasure and enjoyment to work with Max, but Max won't drive forever, especially not as long as Alonso or Hamilton are doing, and the junior team prospect is to find new talents. And we are not looking for a new Max, we are looking for a new champion." And I think the next one, which looks really promising, is Arvid Lindblad. His father is Swedish and his mother is Indian, so it's a very seen combination. What makes him outstanding is his pure speed. In one of the Formula 3 races, he overtook 10 or 14 other drivers in one lap. He won the race from being last in these tricky conditions. But again, there have been tons of drivers who showed a lot of promise in the lower series, and when the pressure has been applied to perform in Red Bull or any other F1 teams, it's something that doesn't correlate with what they've been showing as a talent and raw speed so far. Nevertheless, the future for Tsunoda is now more or less guaranteed to be outside of Red Bull, and a hint regarding this question might have been given by Alonso, who opened up about the retirement process that is earlier than we could possibly imagine. Although the two-time world champion is feeling great and is devoted to the Aston Martin project, now that tons of resources have been invested in the Silverstone-based squad, his age is not something that he could revert back, and therefore we should expect a replacement coming sooner rather than later. Knowing Honda and the devotion they have towards their drivers, it's obviously something that needs to be considered when everyone will sit at the table to fix this very important question. And as I just mentioned, Alonso's stance on retirement is that 2026 2026 is very likely to be the last season in which he will drive in Formula One. When talking about this to a greater extent, the Spaniard said, "Probably, or at least to start with, 2026 is going to be my last season in Formula One because my contract finishes at the end of 2026. So it's the time of delivering and the time of truth. High expectations. I will start the season thinking like that for sure because I cannot think too much in the future. At the moment, my current contract is for 2 more years. With my age and my motivation, I don't know how it's going to be. If the 2026 season is running smoothly and we are having a good time and there is a possibility to race 1 more year, I will be open for sure. I will not close the door beforehand, but I will not start the season thinking that. I will take every race if it's my last one, and I will enjoy every second." Even Alonso himself is aware that the age has gotten to him, and there is no doubt that there should be a replacement coming to his place. So what he's doing right with Aston Martin can be considered a very noble and graceful job, preparing the team for a time of greatness, of course, if they are ready to capitalise on that. The resources are definitely there, the personnel is fitting perfectly, and all they need are a driver or two who will be able to extract all of the potential that is being invested in the car behind closed curtains. The sad thing is, the one seat is more or less secured as long as Lawrence is the owner of the team, and that driver isn't willing to improve to a significant extent because his seat is guaranteed and there is no need for him to get out of his comfort zone. But if the other seat is fitted with a driver who knows a lot about the car and its needs, especially one who worked with Honda and partially with Newey in the past, then Lawrence might be pressured to add another strong and competitive driver alongside Yuki and face the sad truth that his son is just not made out of F1 material. And with all of the latest statements by Christian Horner, there is no doubt that Tsunoda should be looking for a seat elsewhere because at this point, there is not much he can do in order to secure a seat next to Verstappen. Yes, he stated that he was ready to be Verstappen's teammate, and the test in Abu Dhabi gave the team plenty of useful information about the car, but the emotions that are still somehow running high, as well as the lack of technical knowledge, might be the reason why Red Bull have been pushed to think about promoting from their inner circles. Tsunoda did outperform Lawson in qualifying in 2024 6-0, and that was still not enough for him to get the seat that Red Bull promised would go to the better driver in the last 6 races of the season when Lawson was promoted to Racing Bulls. When talking about Tsunoda's future in Red Bull's family, Horner said, "Honda is an important partner for us, but we are a customer of Honda. Of course, we consult Honda in the decision making, and I'm sure that they would have loved Yuki to have been in the car in the last year of their agreement with Red Bull Racing. But Honda has always refused to get involved in the driver lineups. They have always left that choice down to the team. We are acutely aware that if we are not able to provide an opportunity for Yuki, in all honesty, this year, does it make sense? You can't have a driver in the support team for 5 years. You know, you can't always be the bridesmaid. You've either got to let them go at that point or look at something different." With all this in mind, what do you think about Tsunoda finding a new home in Aston Martin? And more importantly, do you think that he will be replacing the aging Alonso, who admitted that he wouldn't be remaining in the sport for a long period of time? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're interested in Verstappen's shocking statement regarding his way of driving in 2025, have a look at the video that's appearing on your screen right now.